Hi, Michael Collins here, talking about the relevance of the Western civilization. And before we begin, it may be instructive to explain just what the meaning of the Western civilization is. Since the Western civilization, has undergone countless changes over the centuries. In Lawrence Berkins' article, he quotes R.R. Palmer in explaining that the Western world centered around the Mediterranean and began with the Greeks. Later, after Rome, the West had a Germanic addition to it. Nevertheless, Berkins responds, quote, "To begin, a civilization may be regarded as the cultural unit about which a linear history may be written," close quote. Okay, so goes the ancient view of the Western civilization. All the same, with what the ancient Western civilization offered to the world, such as language, historians, laws, and civilization, the relevance of the Western civilization was now establishing its importance. As Kenneth Taylor alleges, modern Western civilization reached the pinnacle in the second half of the 20th century. And he explains there are two underlying pillars of past success that hastened the decline. One was the insatiable collective wants, and two, the global population growth. So Taylor goes on to decry the failings of the Western civilization in his, quote, "tragedy of the commons," unquote, which occurs when there is unrestricted access to a resource useful to humans. One, the atmosphere, and two, the oceans. I argue that we, the Western civilization, has implemented research and remedies to these problems, although it'll take time for a solution. Further, I view this essay as somewhat pessimistic, whereas Daniel Hammond chronicles the relevance of the Western civilization in his Inventing Freedom, an informative and attention-keeping book assigned to our course. In it, Hammond demonstrates how the principles of individual rights, private property, the rule of law, and a representative government, all of which has maintained the Western civilization's freedom and preservation of the law. In spite of this, not all civilizations subscribe to those principles. One might add that a greater amount of the Western civilization is similarly a member of the English-speaking peoples, or Anglosphere. These principles have safeguarded the Western civilization for over 1,000+ years. And even though there have been wars, both civil and domestic and foreign, as well as political strife, the Western civilization remains, in the view of many, well and certainly relevant. Thank you.